Hello, my name is Sophie and welcome back to my channel. As we approach the end of the year, people often talk about their 2025 most anticipated reads, and for me that generally means the books that I've gone to the effort of pre-ordering next year, because if I care enough about them to pre-order, then I'm clearly highly anticipating them. So I've collated a list of all the books I've pre-ordered so far, and it's more than I thought it was, which is perhaps the reality check I didn't need. There's also a couple books that I haven't pre-ordered yet that I'm going to buy at some point. Generally, I'm just waiting to see if there's any special editions coming out. But there's 8 books on this list, so I thought I would tell you about them. The first book I feel is very obvious for anyone who's been on TikTok and aware of Fourth Wing. The third book in the Empyrean series, Onyx Storm, comes out on the 21st of January, and this is how I'm planning to start my year. My husband is also really into this series. I've also spoken to my sibling about it, and I was telling them that I'm planning to start 2025 by rereading Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and both of them said, oh well, I don't really feel like I need to do that because I remember everything about them, so I don't need to do that before Onyx Storm. And I'm like, that's all well and good, but I have the memory of a sieve. No, that doesn't make sense. I have a sieve for a memory. Or the memory of a monkey. I don't know, whatever the phrase is, my memory's not that good, and I'm not very good at remembering details after I've finished reading the book. Even during finishing the book, I'm not very good at retaining details. So I think what I want to do to start 2025 is to reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, and ahead of the release of Onyx Storm on the 21st of January. I then have my autism assessment on the 23rd of January, so I'm not sure how that will impact my reading, but I'm very excited about this book. I full-on fell into the Fourth Wing hype in 2023, and I wholeheartedly think they rushed the release of Iron Flame, so I'm glad that they've taken a little bit longer to release Onyx Storm, but I'm really intrigued to see where this series is going. I've pre-ordered it on Kindle. I'm not sure if the Waterstones special edition has been announced and sold out, or if it's just not been released yet. Still kind of waiting on that one. We're hoping to get our hands on a Waterstones special edition because my husband would like to read this at the same time. So we'll see how far we get with that, but so far I have it pre-ordered on my Kindle and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. The next book I've pre-ordered is another one that comes out in January, so it gives me a bit of an incentive to finish Onyx Storm relatively quickly and not take too much time on it. But the book is Spiral by Bal Cabra. I'm going with Cabra. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I believe this is part of a series. So it's part of the Off the Ice series that starts with Collide, which is another book I want to read, but I haven't gone out of my way to buy it. But the main reason I want to read Spiral is because it's about a ballerina, and as someone who grew up as a dance girl and is still kind of a dance girl and is kind of training to be a dance teacher, I love stories about dancers. Whenever I see about sports romances, I love when there's the inclusion of a dancer, and that's why I was really let down by The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I can't remember what it was that actually converted me to pre-order this one. I don't know if maybe it was one of those graphics on Instagram where they have all the tropes listed around the book, but it sounded really fun, so I pre-ordered the Kindle edition of that, and maybe I'll have to also get book 1 in the series, or maybe I'll get book 1 in the series after. I imagine they're interconnected standalones, but I'm really excited to read a ballerina book, and I think that'll be the kind of book I need after Onyx Storm. I think a contemporary romance is probably the way to go after the third book in a dragon fantasy series. And that one comes out on the 28th of January. The next book on my list is Ali Hazelwood's new release, Deep End, which is, again, I think a sports romance, but about swimmers. I think it's a new adult college level romance, which I don't think Ali Hazelwood's written before. I don't know if it's got any STEM features. Even in Check and Mate there ended up being a kind of STEM feature, where the female protagonist was kind of training to be a mechanic. So yeah, I don't really know anything about this book, but Ali Hazelwood is an auto-buy author for me. There's only, I think, 2 of her books that I haven't read. One is Loath to Love You, which is the 3 short story novellas that she wrote, and the other one is the Christmas short story that she wrote in collaboration with Amazon. But I've read all of her other books and rated them at least 4 stars, if not 5. I love Ali Hazelwood as a writer, and I can't wait to read this one. I'm as excited for this one as I have been for all her other books. I adored Not in Love, which is her most recent release, I think, other than the Christmas novella, and I rated that one 5 stars, so safe to say I can't wait for this next one either. Then we have a book that was announced in January 2024, but I believe is coming out in March 2025, and it's the next installment in the Legend-Born cycle by Tracy Deonn, which is called Oathbound. This is one that I can't necessarily say I'm particularly like highly anticipating, because the first 2 books in this series were both 3 stars for me, but it's the kind of 3 stars where even though I didn't necessarily love it, I'm intrigued enough to not want to know what happens next, because I think I'm kind of attached to the characters and the story. I love Arthurian legends, so the fact that it all kind of keeps relating back to the Legend of Arthur is a big pull for me. But I think the reason that I'm putting this one on the list and that I have pre-ordered it is because I want it. It's so close to being a book that I really love, but it's not quite there, so I need to find out if it does become that. I had my issues with book 1 and book 2. I pre-ordered this one on Kindle because I was looking on Waterstones and they're releasing it as a hardback, even though books 1 and 2 came out as paperbacks, so I don't want to have a hardback that doesn't match the other books in my collection, and those books generally tend to be very chunky, so that's more comfortable to read on a Kindle for me. I think I read the first 2 as audiobooks as well, and with a lot of the kind of archaic terminology that's used within the Arthurian legend parts and like the Gaelic parts of the story, having the audiobook really makes a difference, so we'll probably use an audiobook credit on that as well. But yes, I have pre-ordered Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, though I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of my most anticipated reads of next year. Then we have another book that's 3rd in the series, the 3rd book in the Tomes and Tea series by Rebecca Thorne, that started with Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. The 3rd book is called Tea You at the Altar. The puns are getting worse. This is another book where I'm not particularly obsessed with the series. I rated book 1 4 stars and I think I rated book 2 3.5, but this feels less like I'm on tenterhooks about what happens next with the plot and more about just want to check in on how the lads are doing. Having read the first 2 books in this series this year and having just finished Legends and Lattes, I feel like I'm just exploring cozy fantasy and finding my footing in it as a genre that I really love. I just want to read more of it. That and the first 2 books in the series I have the Waterstones special editions of, so obviously I have to get the Waterstones special edition of book 3. It just makes sense, it's compulsory, I don't make the rules. Then the last 3 on the list, I have only pre-ordered 1 of them, but 2 of them I'm waiting to see if there are any special editions because I'm 99% sure I'm going to love them. But the next book on my list that comes out on the 22nd of April is A Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I feel like I read Beach Read by Emily Henry and I was obsessed, and I kind of defined myself as an Emily Henry fan, and then didn't read any more of her books, even though I kind of bought most of them and I'm aware of most of them, I just hadn't read them. And then I read You and Me on Vacation. No, I read Funny Story and then You and Me on Vacation this year, and I really enjoyed both of them. I rated them, Funny Story was 5 stars and You and Me on Vacation was 4 stars. I'm hoping to read Book Lovers before the end of the year, and then that leaves the only currently released books that I've not read as Happy Place. So I'd really like to read A Great Big Beautiful Life when that comes out in April, because I have no doubt I'm going to love that as well. But I'm pretty sure the Waterstones special edition of Happy Place was really mid. So, oh no, the Waterstones edition of Funny Story was really mid. It just had like these ombre sprayed edges, and I'm like, I don't care enough to spend that much money on mid sprayed edges. So I'm waiting to see what the special editions look like, and I will either get it on my Kindle or get the standard hardback. Then we have a book that is a sequel to a book that I owned but I haven't read yet, so technically not highly anticipated, but another one where the sprayed edges pulled me in, and sometimes I need the incentive to read the first book. So now that I know I have the second book pre-ordered, I know I need to read the first book, because then if I hate it I can cancel it and I can make money back. Girl math, we love it. That series is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I've not read that one, but I have pre-ordered A Curse Carved in Bone, and I have nothing to say on it because I haven't read this series. The special editions are stunning, which is the entire reason I bought them. It's based on Norse mythology, which is something I haven't really read much about. My experience with Norse mythology extends to watching the Thor movies, which I don't think really counts, but I am a big fan of mythology and fantasy stories that involve mythology, so I think I'm going to love it. Just haven't read it yet. So this is my incentive to read A Fate Inked in Blood. And last but by no means least, we have the book that got me back into YA mystery thrillers this year. Well, the author that got me back into YA mystery thrillers this year, and that is Holly Jackson. I adored the reappearance of Rachel Price. I think I have 2 editions of it because I got the Amazon special edition, which turns out is exactly the same as the Waterstone special edition but without the sprayed edges, and then my husband went to Germany where they do sprayed edges. Well, they do it on a different level in Germany. He found a copy of the reappearance of Rachel Price with really cool sprayed edges, and not only was it a really cool edition, but he actually found an edition in English in a German bookshop, which was very exciting. So I already have 2 copies of this book, or well, of that book, and that makes me think that I'm going to really enjoy Holly Jackson's next release. I've read nearly all of the books that she's released and generally loved, if not enjoyed, all of them. So Not Quite Dead Yet is Holly Jackson's next release, and that comes out on the 17th of July. Generally, I think in book marketing they don't tend to announce books more than 7 or 8 months in advance, just in case there's any changes. Like with Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, they announced it last January with I think they said that it was going to come out January 2025, but it's now coming out March 2025. So I don't think we'll know about any other major releases for the end of 2025 until later into the year. But those are the 8 that I'm really excited about that have currently been announced at the end of 2024 going into 2025. A lot of these pre-orders serve different purposes, but you know what, in their own way I'm excited about all of them. So those are the books I've pre-ordered / I'm highly anticipating for next year, but also I'm so excited about shopping my own shelves in 2025 because I have so many unread books. It often feels like I do get to shop my own shelves because I don't remember all of the books that are there. So still going to be trying to not buy as much in 2025, but those are 8 books that I definitely will be buying / have already pre-ordered. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're reading a great book, and I'll see you very soon for another bookish video. Bye!